What's something that you did once that you'll never try again? Hiking alone in the woods by my house, which people said a demon lives, bro. It wasn't a demon, no, it was a hobo with a BB gun. And I got shot, it hurt like hell. Edit. Guys, why do people like this story so much? Go home. First and only time I went hiking / backpacking alone, I got attacked by desperados in the middle of the night. People are loads scarier than any demon we can imagine. What about a furry demon trying to fuck ya? Don't threaten me with a good time. I'd bet. The Bean Boozled challenge. Fuck that shit. I got the vomit flavored one, and when I tasted it, I actually vomited for a lick. Now to test if it was accurate. Narrator, it was. Yes. I used alcohol to clean my ass. What ended up happening? It was clean. Hard laughed at that. I was in the army once. Bruh, I feel you. I joined the army already being in my mid-20s. I thought it would make me cool or tough. I had a college degree before I joined. I enlisted. I quickly realized I made myself the lowest of the low loser in a military town. Lower enlisted. My self-esteem took a dump. I also joined the army in my mid-20s after getting a degree. Mainly I wanted a better job and thought the army would give me some resume experience. Then I decided I wanted to go enlisted so I could do the work. Thought I could fast track to E5 so I could get bar. During the time I was stuck an extra 7 months at 8. The regulation changed single soldier bar from E5 to E6. I had a 6-year contract with no enlistment bonus. People arriving at 8 just a couple months after me had 3 years with bonuses. Going from living on my own in my apartment to barracks roommates. No more dogs. I'm going to burn down the barracks if I cook in my room. I've been out of the army for a few years now. Still working on slowing down the drinking habit I started as a 30-plus-year-old sergeant. Living in the barracks. Being treated no different than a 18-year-old private. All because I didn't marry some random person or get knocked up. The few hours out of the years I actually got to do a job was good. I enjoyed that. And in the end it did build up my resume so I could end up in a more than decent job on the outside. Close bracket. Lose my virginity without protection to a married woman with a husband in prison. Lose my virginity. Okay, I guess. Without protection, not smart. Not the end of the world though. To a married woman, bruh, with a husband in prison. Bruh, your response made me laugh harder than the original comment. Preparation H is a hemorrhoid cream that claims to be cooling and soothing. For hemorrhoids that may be the case. However, if your asshole is just raw from too many beers and hot wings, the cream is nothing short of molten steel being applied to your poop chute. Can I hire you to narrate my life? In my early 20s I had sex with a woman nearly twice my age. Now I'm in my early 60s, I almost certainly won't be doing that again. Edit. Thanks for the awards. Especially the wholesome one, which I probably don't deserve for this comment. Fancy cracking open a cold one, mate. Edit. Thanks for the award, Sicko. Edit to Sickus. You don't need to bring flowers if she's newly dug in. Or mongoose. I stayed overnight at a store I was working at because the lock on their door broke. This wasn't my store, and the manager said quite a few times she'd be there soon. I ended staying from the beginning of the shift, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, to 6 o'clock in the morning. The manager lived 20 minutes from the store, but it took her 8 hours to get there. After this, I planned on transferring to that store because it's a lot closer than my current one. The following Friday, my transfer was cancelled because, and I'm serious, not enough determination to work here / not manager material. I have been a manager since early February of last year. Also, I had a determination to stay all night for a store that wasn't mine. So, when they asked for their store keys back, I told the manager to go fuck herself. That report was 100% a lie, and she knows it. She called my current manager to tell her what happened, and my manager took my side entirely. Now, when that store's manager needs help, my manager offers to send me. She refuses every time. I won't stay with the company for much longer because of hours being cut / driving distance, but I'll remember how badly they treated me for a while. She can still go fuck herself. Yeah, that's a go fuck themselves. From me too. Me 3. Marriage. I'm still married, but I wouldn't do it again. Wife knows your Reddit account, huh? He never said he won't divorce. He also never said that he will divorce. I put icy hot on my balls as an experiment. That was a different kind of pain. It's not icy at all. Just burning hot pain. Source also tried. Why do people do this? It is a substance that cools and warms in equal measure. Both sold and known as a product that brings pain relief. So when you hear that it brings soul scouring pain, if applied to one's wrinkly undercarriage, it flies in the face of known facts. Okay, so maybe it hurts. You might have even just watched your friend do it, and they sure aren't acting as if it's a good time. But surely it can't be that bad. One little dab is enough to put the myth to the test. One little dab can't do that much damage. Source, it must be done for science on a scale of napping in a comfy bed to tangoing with a bullet train. I'd rate it on the lower end, just below sampling 30 hot sauces when the hottest thing you usually taste is sriracha, but just above sword fighting with scavenged bits of bamboo. Close bracket. That's a weirdly understandable scale. Put my tongue on some ice, it stuck to the ice. I pulled it out and started bleeding from my mouth during a family reunion. Never again. Just watched another video like that. I don't think it's the pain that would really get me, but definition of missing tongue chunk and not being able to drink and eat for a few days. Upvote for tongue chunk. Cocaine. I enjoyed it too much. My experience too with coke. I really liked it. I wanted to talk to people. Was having a good time. But most of all I wanted more coke. I firmly believe that if I had had access to more, I would've done all there was and died. Never again. I feel like that's the problem with it. It just makes you want to do more constantly until you come off of it. Opium. Back in high school was smoking weed at my buddy's house when he busted out a pipe full of opium. Got insanely couch locked. Felt a glorious body and mind high. Vowed to never do an opiate recreationally again, as it felt way too good. Most of those friends ended up on heroin, so I really dodged a bullet there. That's exactly how I felt the first and only time I tried heroin. Yeah, I tried heroin once for like 10 years. Stayed with a girl for 3 years because I was codependent and lost all my friendships to the relationship. Totally got in my head and convinced myself I needed her, even though she constantly gaslighted me, made fun of my interests and hardly showed any affection. Never again. God, it feels great to be free and have friends and to know that I'll be okay without a romantic partner. I, 23 meters, was in an identical situation. I left 6 months ago after 3 years with my GF. Best choice I ever made. I'm happy to say that a few of the friends I lost came back around, but I lost a lot of proper mental health, time, experiences, and friends. Constant gaslighting and verbal abuse. Here's to 2021. No more abusive relationships. Crack. Tried it once for 12 years. Wouldn't recommend. Wait. The rock was really big. Got minor surgery with only local anesthetic. Still hurt like hell at certain moments, even more when he went through scar tissue. And for some reason numbing doesn't work well on me, so I needed an extra shot, and even when it didn't I could feel the tearing, and it was just so unsettling. So uncomfortable. My body was being shaken around because some of it was liposuction, and it is violent. -7/10 would not recommend. If I ever need another scar revision, which is what that was, it hasn't fully healed yet, or any other kind of surgery, I'm going full general anesthesia. I'll even wait and save if it costs too much. I ain't going through that again. Do you have red hair? Wait, are you referring to oh I just googled, that's a thing. It is. Apparently. Yeah. They thought the gas canister was empty when I was getting drugged up for oral surgery because it wasn't kicking in. I don't think I'll go back to college. Wasn't for me. I'm just glad finals are over. It's been 30 years. But I'm still glad about it. I've been out for roughly 5 years, and I still have nightmares that I've forgotten to show up to my Tuesday/Thursday math course and it's finals and I'm fucked. I didn't even skip classes when I went. Same here, though. I have to admit, That sense of relief when you wake up and remember, oh yeah, I'm long since done with that and I don't have to worry about it anymore is pretty sweet. Talking to a Scientologist. I know Scientology is a cult, but what is it like? What do they believe? Basically just a rejected science fiction novel by L. Ron Hubbard. Ran a half marathon. I suffered through the training and got told, when you hit the finish line, it will all be worth it. When I crossed the finish line I felt like I was dying and I hated every second of the race. My mentor finally admitted maybe running isn't for you. Absolutely agree with this. Spent so much energy trying to be a runner and enjoy it. Never worked out for me. Betraying my dreams for somebody else's dream for me. Guts? Question mark. Inhale alcohol. It's a quicker, dangerous way to get drunk. Don't recommend it. I had an Aussie roommate who used to be a bartender, so one of his signature drinks had a 151 top that he ignited. Put a coaster over the drink, then inhale the fumes. Totally don't recommend. The only thing messing with your brain then would be the carbon monoxide. The alcohol is all burned off well before you could inhale any. I hiked to Everest Base Camp. Hired my own guide porter so that I wouldn't be in a giant group. Ended up just being me, 2 friends, and guide. The porter always hiked ahead. This took 8 days. Then 6 days to hike back via an alternate route that took us over an epic alpine pass and over top the longest glacier in the Himalayas. It was the most amazing experience of my life, but also the most challenging. The trail is not very technical at all. Aside from the alpine crossing, which is somewhat technical, you need crampons and parts are a bit sketchy. What gets you are the high altitudes. I more or less live at sea level, so my body is not used to hiking higher than 5,000 meters at all, let alone 4,000 meters or even 3,000 meters. As soon as we landed at the trailhead, 2850 meters or so, I started feeling a bit dizzy and lightheaded. The first day of hiking is not so bad and takes you a bit downhill actually, to 2650 meters or so. But the mental battle / challenge that the rest of the hike would be became clear right away. We didn't struggle to complete day 1. But it wasn't easy either. Every single uphill portion was tough. I had to stop to catch my breath often. Day 2 was insane. You hike up to 400 meters and that last hour or so is all uphill. It's the first real tough day on the trail. When I finally got to Namche Bazaar, our destination for that day, I was sure that I was out of all energy I had in my body. I had no idea how I was going to continue. High altitudes just mess with you so much, and they affect each person differently. The next day, it was an acclimatization day. They call these rest day. What you do is you climb a mountain, stay up there for a half an hour, which triggers your body to produce more white red blood cells. Then you descend back down and sleep at the same altitude you slept at the previous night. This makes the next 2 to 3 days of hiking easier, as your body begins adapting to those altitudes. As soon as you reach those heights during the rest day, that rest day was even tougher than day 2. I didn't think I would make it all the way to the top. Our guide pushed me and motivated me, and kept an eye on my health and high altitude sickness symptoms, which can kill you. He taught me to take this sort of challenge step by step, one step at a time. He also taught us how to keep a proper pace and how to walk properly at those latitudes. We basically followed him, his pace, and kept an eye out on how he moved his legs. Anyway, the rest of the hike saw us climb 3 more mountains, 1 rest day, 1 mountain to view Mount Everest from, and 1 mountain to get epic views from near Gokyo Lakes. We crossed that epic alpine crossing and hiked on top of the longest glacier in the Himalayas. It was such a beautiful and amazing experience. Yet, when we were done, I knew that I would never return to do this hike again. I do want to return to Nepal one day. It's such an amazing country, but if I ever go I'm likely to do the Annapurna circuit. It would be a challenge as well, but I just don't see myself going through the exact same challenges before. I would know what's coming up, and I would know how long there is to go on almost every day, and there would probably be even more people on the trail. We sort of had perfect conditions on the trail, so I sort of want to leave myself with that memory of what the hike was like. Wow, props to you for doing this and pushing through. And also for knowing your limits. I traveled to Nepal once. It's my favorite place I ever went. I didn't do base camp, just a couple day trips paragliding and kayaking outside of Pokhara. But you're right. Absolutely magical place and I'd love to go back. I swear the Nepali people are the best people. I don't like generalizing like that. It seems wrong, even when it's something positive. But when I was in Nepal I almost always felt like I was surrounded by brothers and sisters. The Sherpa people especially were amazing. If it's not the scenery that's making me want to go back, it's definitely the people and their hospitality. Really liked the tingly sensation my tea tree shampoo gave my scalp. Decided to scrub my body with it. My skin was on fire and then started itching like crazy. I was as red as a lobster for a couple hours. You're allergic. You know that? Just checking, cause on the other sub someone said that for 7 years he thought it's normal for head to be itchy after washing. My brother and I walked across an expansive railroad trestle with a wide river flowing vigorously below. If a train had come, we would risked having to jump into the rapidly moving river. Never again. Haven back quote tu seen Stand By Me, lollipop. Lollipop oh lolly lollipop badum dum dum. Jingle bell rock wait. Suicide attempt. Wouldn't do it again. Not recommended 0/10. I tried the same thing last October. Fuck everything about psych wards. Strangely I really enjoy psych wards. I've gone twice after suicide attempts, and besides the real world worries and anxiety I get after a few days, I feel a lot more secure inside them. I think it depends a lot on the quality of care. I've been in twice as well, but both times it was obvious that the staff didn't give a flying fuck, and it was basically a glorified babysitting service with mandatory unhelpful medication and a steep price tag. The ones I've been to in Florida were awful. Completely awful. 1. I was in with people waiting to go to prison and catered to only drug addiction really. So it wasn't even mental health focused, it was only focused on addiction. Which is cool, we need those things, but I need help for mental health. I don't wanna sit and talk about how bad alcohol is all day. But that's what we did. The bed wasn't even a bed. It's some latex thing with some cotton stuffed inside of it. My back hurt so bad from trying to sleep on those damn things. And the food. Oh, the food made me sick to my stomach. At that point I was like, get me the fuck home. I'd had with it that place, and as I got home I went back to my original medicinal regiment, because I didn't like any of their DRs, and didn't trust a single word they said. I went parasailing. The guy could tell I was scared, and thought it was a great idea to lunge toward me as in being lifted into the air, and scream "Wait, not strapped in." I was in fact strapped in, and boy did I straight up not have a good time. My mom was on the boat and ripped the guy a new one cause I got the anxieties. That's so fucked up for someone to do that. Apparently it's a thing guides do during extreme sports. They probably get a kick out of it. Was ziplining once with a first timer, and they were absolutely terrified of heights. This was their kind of face your fear moment. Instead of being supportive, the guide jokes about how if you let go you'll flip upside down and fall out. So don't let go, which is somewhat true. The harnesses are not built to hold you if you try to invert. He didn't just stop there. He went on to talk about how someone on his tour tried it once and fell out, and it took hours for the paramedics to rescue them from the mountain. Luckily the person lived as it was one of the low zips, maybe a 30-foot fall, but could never walk again. Not even sure if the story was true or if he was just psing. Before every zip he would stop the worried person and recheck the harness, just to make sure nothing is wrong, but wouldn't do it for anyone else. This led the worried person to believe there was something wrong with their harness instead of adding additional security. Just so many little things. By the time we were halfway through the course, this person was visibly shaking from the anxiety. They didn't want to quit because it would hold up the group, so they kept going. That day they could have conquered their fears and been proud of themselves. Instead, they probably broke down and cried the second they had some privacy and lost sleep / never forgot that day. That's awful. You'd think they'd want to make it the best experience possible for each person that comes through. In my experience, the guides are generally absolutely amazingly interesting and fun people, with lots of cool stories and great conversation. Sometimes the guides are actually the highlight of the trip. There's bad apples everywhere you go, though. Meth. Shaving the hair in my ass crack. Big mood. That shit grows back like sandpaper. Walking in front of a car. Nearly 10 years later, and I still don't walk right. 7th grade. The toughest 3 years of my life. If you are new to TattleTale TV, please subscribe. We have new videos every day. Stay tuned for more coming up next.